That's not fair. I never asked you to stay here.
Don't talk back to me, you ungrateful little...
She grabbed my science project off the table, a solar system model I'd spent weeks building, and smashed it against the floor. Something in me snapped. Stop it. I worked so hard on that. It's due tomorrow.
Well, now you'll have to tell your teacher what a disappointment you are. Join the club. Everyone's a disappointment. Your father disappointed me by dying, and you disappoint me every day by looking exactly like him.
I knelt down and tried to salvage some of the pieces, but she wasn't finished. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging in so hard they drew blood.
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Let go. You're hurting me.
Hurting you? You don't know what hurt is. I lost everything when your father died.
I lost him too. He was my dad. But at least he loved me. He never looked at me the way you do, like you hate me. The next thing I knew, I was on the floor, my head ringing from where it had hit the edge of the coffee table. Mom stood over me, her face twisted in shock at what she'd done. She grabbed her purse and left. My name is Gemma, and I learned at a very young age that some people aren't meant to be parents. I was only 8 years old when my father died in a construction accident. One moment he was there, strong, loving, protective, and the next he was gone, crushed beneath steel beams that gave way too soon. They said it was quick, but that didn't make it hurt any less. Before Dad died, we were happy. Not perfect, but happy. Mom would laugh at his terrible jokes, and they'd dance in the kitchen while making Sunday breakfast. That version of my mother died alongside my father, replaced by someone unrecognizable, someone cruel. The day of the funeral was when I first noticed the change. Mom clutched a glass of whiskey instead of a tissue. Her eyes weren't sad, they were angry. That night, after everyone had left our house, I found her sitting in Dad's chair, staring at the wall, another drink in her hand. Mom, are you okay?
Go to bed, Gemma.
But I can't sleep. I miss Daddy.
Well, he's not coming back, is he? He left us. He promised he'd always be here, and he lied.
Her voice was cold. I stood there and watched as she drained her glass and immediately refilled it. There was no comfort, no reassuring hug, just the harsh reality that I was now alone with a stranger who wore my mother's face. The drinking started that night and never stopped. At first, it was just evenings, then afternoons. By the time I turned 9, Mom was starting her day with what she called breakfast juice poured into her coffee mug. I learned to tell how bad the day would be by the smell of her breath when she woke me for school. My 10th birthday was the first major incident. Dad had always made birthdays special, with decorated cakes and carefully wrapped presents. I foolishly hoped Mom might try to do the same. I spent all day watching the clock at school, imagining a small celebration waiting at home. Instead, I found her passed out on the couch, an empty bottle of vodka on the floor. I shook her awake, a mistake I'd soon regret. Mom? Mom, wake up. It's my birthday, remember?
What? What time is it? Why are you bothering me?
It's after 4. I'm home from school. We were supposed to have cake tonight, remember? You promised.
For God's sake, Gemma, your father just died. Do you really think we should be celebrating?
But Dad died 2 years ago, and you said...
I don't care what I said. Do you think I have time for stupid cakes and presents? I'm trying to keep this house. I'm trying to pay bills. Your father left us with nothing.
That wasn't true. Dad had a life insurance policy and had always been careful with money. But she'd been drinking it away steadily, month by month. I was too young to understand that then. All I knew was that my question had ignited something dangerous in her eyes. She stood up, swaying slightly, and knocked over a lamp. The crash seemed to infuriate her further, and suddenly, it was my fault. Everything was my fault.
Look what you made me do. If you hadn't been whining about your stupid birthday, this wouldn't have happened.
The slap came without warning, a sharp, stinging blow across my cheek that sent me stumbling backward. She had never hit me before. My father would never have allowed it. But he wasn't there to stop her anymore. I ran to my room and locked the door, curling up on my bed with my stuffed rabbit, a gift from Dad. I could hear Mom downstairs, crying and breaking things. That night, I made myself a peanut butter sandwich for dinner. There was no cake, no presents, no happy birthday song. just the crushing realization that my life had changed forever. School became my sanctuary. I threw myself into studying, joining every after-school program I could find. My teachers noticed the change in me, the girl who never wanted to leave and needed frequent reminders that it was time to go home. Mrs. Vargo, my 6th grade teacher, was the first to ask questions. She kept me after class one day.
Gemma, is everything all right at home? You seem different lately.
Everything's fine. Mom's just been busy with work.
You know you can talk to me if you need to, right?
I almost told her then. But I remembered what Mom had told me after a parent-teacher conference the year before.
If you ever tell anyone our private business, they'll take you away. You'll end up in foster care, and those places are worse than anything you could imagine. Is that what you want?
So I smiled at Mrs. Vargo and assured her everything was fine. I became an expert at covering bruises with long sleeves, at explaining away my mother's absence at school events, at pretending our life was normal. I learned to cook, to clean, to take care of myself because no one else would. The worst incident happened when I was 14. Mom lost her job at the insurance company. Apparently, she had shown up drunk multiple times. Unfortunately, on the day her boss asked why she was always late and nearly intoxicated, she snapped. She attacked her boss and was immediately fired. She came home in a rage I had never seen before, tossing her keys at the wall hard enough to leave a dent.
This is your fault. I'm stuck in this dead-end town because of you. I could have moved anywhere after your father died, started over, but no.
That's not fair. I never asked you to stay here.
Don't talk back to me, you ungrateful little...
She grabbed my science project off the table, a solar system model I'd spent weeks building, and smashed it against the floor. Something in me snapped. Stop it. I worked so hard on that. It's due tomorrow.
Well, now you'll have to tell your teacher what a disappointment you are. Join the club. Everyone's a disappointment. Your father disappointed me by dying, and you disappoint me every day by looking exactly like him.
I knelt down and tried to salvage some of the pieces, but she wasn't finished. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging in so hard they drew blood.
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Let go. You're hurting me.
Hurting you? You don't know what hurt is. I lost everything when your father died.
I lost him too. He was my dad. But at least he loved me. He never looked at me the way you do, like you hate me. The next thing I knew, I was on the floor, my head ringing from where it had hit the edge of the coffee table. Mom stood over me, her face twisted in shock at what she'd done. She grabbed her purse and left, the door slamming behind her. I ended up with 6 stitches above my eyebrow that night after our elderly neighbor found me trying to stop the bleeding. I told the emergency room doctor I'd tripped and hit the table. No one questioned it. They just accepted my well-practiced lies. That night, I made myself a promise. As soon as I turned 18, I would leave and never look back. I kept that promise. The day after high school graduation, I left for college with a partial scholarship and student loans to cover the rest. I chose a school 3 states away and told no one where I was going except Mrs. Vargo, who had remained a steadfast ally. She promised to keep my secret. For 4 years, I thrived. I made real friends for the first time. I met James in my junior year, and his steady, gentle nature helped heal parts of me I thought were broken forever. After graduation, we moved to Seattle together, where I landed a job at a marketing firm and he worked as a software engineer. We were happy. Sometimes weeks would pass when I didn't think about my mother at all. Then came the call from Mrs. Vargo.
Gemma, I'm so sorry. Your mother came to my house last night, demanding to know where you are. She was not well. I didn't tell her anything, but she made quite a scene. The neighbors called the police.
What did she say? Did she threaten you?
No, dear, but she was very insistent. She said she's dying and needs to find you. I thought you should know.
The claim that she was dying was almost certainly a lie, another manipulation tactic. I changed my phone number that day and warned James about the possibility of my mother showing up. 3 months later, she found me anyway. I came home from work to find her sitting on the steps of our apartment building, looking older and more haggard than I remembered.
Gemma, finally. Do you know how long I've been looking for you?
How did you find me?
That doesn't matter. Aren't you going to invite me in? It's freezing out here, and your own mother has nowhere to stay.
Against my better judgment, I let her in. She claimed to be sober now, to have realized the error of her ways. For a brief, foolish moment, I allowed myself to hope. That hope lasted exactly 3 days. I came home early from work with a migraine to find her rummaging through our closet, a half-empty bottle of our best whiskey beside her, and James's watch in her hand. "What are you doing?"
Oh, you startled me. I was just admiring James's watch. It looks expensive.
"Put it back. Now."
Don't use that tone with me. I'm still your mother.
The fight that followed was ugly. All the pain, all the rage I'd suppressed for years came pouring out. James came home midway through to find us screaming at each other, my mother slurring her words as she spat venom about how I'd abandoned her, how ungrateful I was. That night, after James and I had asked her to leave and she'd refused, I made a decision. I wouldn't run anymore. I wouldn't let her destroy this life I'd built. The next morning, while she was still sleeping off her hangover, I called a lawyer. By afternoon, I had a restraining order in process. I also contacted a rehab center and made arrangements. Then I woke her up. Here's what's going to happen. You have 2 choices. Option 1, you check yourself into this rehab facility today. If you complete the program and stay sober for 1 full year, we can discuss having a relationship. Option 2, you refuse and I file this restraining order. If you ever come near me again, you'll be arrested.
You can't be serious. I'm your mother. After everything I've done for you.
Everything you've done for me? Like what? Hitting me? Blaming me for Dad's death? Making my childhood a living hell? I don't owe you anything. These are your choices. Make one. She chose option 2. The restraining order was granted the following week. When she violated it a month later, showing up at my office drunk and causing a scene, the police arrested her. Over the next year, she made it her mission to sabotage my life from a distance. She sent messages to my boss claiming I was stealing from the company. She created fake social media accounts to spread lies about me. She even tracked down James's parents and told them horrific stories about me. The final straw came when she showed up at our wedding rehearsal dinner. She stumbled in, clearly intoxicated, and began shouting about how I'd abandoned her, how I was a terrible daughter, how I didn't deserve happiness when she had none. As security escorted her out, something hardened inside me. This would never end unless I ended it. So I set a trap. I had a friend post on social media about a fake going-away party for me and James, claiming we were moving to London for his work. I made sure the information would find its way to my mother. Then I waited. She arrived exactly as I predicted, already drunk and ready to make a scene. What she didn't know was that the only people at this party were me, James, a police officer, and a court representative. As she launched into her usual tirade, the officer arrested her for violating the restraining order again, while the court representative documented everything. 2 weeks later, in front of a judge who had reviewed her extensive history of harassment, I was granted the most comprehensive protection order possible. The judge also mandated psychiatric evaluation and treatment, with the warning that any further violations would result in significant jail time. My mother was finally forced into treatment, but it didn't help. She broke out of the facility as soon as she could and tried to find me and harass me some more. I, of course, called the police on her and reported her violating the restraining order yet again. The police tried to arrest her, but she fled. She was incredibly intoxicated at the time and as a result lost control during the high-speed chase and crashed her car into a river where it sank to the bottom. She died drowning in that water, which was a surprise, since I had always assumed that she would die drowning in liquor. I wish I could say that I mourned her death, but as far as I was concerned. My mother died the same day as my father. The evil creature that replaced her just took up residence in her body. As for me, James and I bought a small house with a garden. I started my own marketing consultancy. Sometimes I still have nightmares about my childhood. I still flinch at unexpected loud noises, but those moments grow rarer with each passing year. The shadow my mother cast over my life has faded. Not completely, but enough that I can stand in the sunlight without constantly looking over my shoulder. Our daughter is 5 now. She has her grandfather's eyes. When she laughs, the sound is pure, free from the fear that tainted my own childhood. I've made sure of that. I've learned that sometimes the only way to heal is to cut away the thing that poisons you. even when that thing is your own mother. It wasn't revenge that drove me in the end. It was self-preservation. And in preserving myself, I ensured that the cycle of abuse that defined my childhood would end with me. Thanks for watching.